Hey, welcome back to the Mega Man X LP. On the last episode, I have a very embarrassing fight with Boomer Quanger and also Sora Storm Eagle. So, let's move on. I know that I'm playing on the SNES Classic, SNES Mini, whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to play fair and use a password anyway. Not, like, cheat, just so no one can accuse me of cheating that much. Using the password keeps your boss and item progress, but you do lose any extra lives you got, and the sub-tanks don't stay filled, so I'm gonna have to re-earn those. How I've been playing lately, that's gonna be difficult. So, deviating from my normal route, I guess I can't even really say that, but thinking on it, I think I did get into a habit of doing Boomer Quanger 4th after a little while, but whatever, I'm gonna go after Launch Octopus next. Launch Octopus is basically the underwater level. Awesome. Oops. Oh my god, I keep getting hit by a bunch of seahorses. There's a big fish. This is a mini boss. We're gonna do this one fair. And get hit for it. It likes to suck and blow. Oh, I tried to slip in between them. That did not work. Thankfully, the, I don't know what you'd call those. I'm gonna call them eel projectiles. Tend to drop health. So, this is not normally the way I fight this thing. Normally I just like to use Storm Tornado, but I'm gonna save that for, later. So since we're underwater, the Flame Wave does not work. Mega Man actually adheres to physics. But if you get sucked up by those fishes, then Flame Wave does work. It's kind of a neat touch. Alright, enough of the fair play garbage, especially now that this thing's actually going to try and suck and blow us into spikes. Not very nice. Much better. Go up here, destroy this battleship. Try not to get hit by the missiles. They'll fall. Those things can still hit you if you, like, fall on top of them while you're falling. So, try to avoid that. I have lost a life by doing that. Down here, you'll have to deal with this guy. Him in the head or the tail. Try to be careful when you're fighting here, because you can and will fall into the spikes. Oh, that was nice. He didn't drop all of his goodies in the spike pit. So yeah, you want to do all that. You need to destroy the battleship to get down here, and you'll find your heart container. I think that was the only hidden item in Launch Octopus' stage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the only one in Launch Octopus' stage. It's Mega Man X2 where they had, like, a heart tank and one extra thing. By the way, did you know that Storm Tornado is good? Because it's kind of good. That was nice and simple. I'm sure that the boss will be exactly the same way. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Sing loves to projectile spam, and he'll also try to do that with the tornado. Tornado is especially devious because if it grabs you, it will actually steal your health. Oh boy. Thankfully, with the dash boots, the tornado is actually pretty easy to avoid. I have tried fighting this thing without the dash boots, but that tornado is a nightmare in that case. This is going decently well. Ugh. It's really the triple missile that's the problem. You can just flood the screen really easily with that. Of course, in this case, it's actually pretty easy to avoid when he's like way far away from you. Oh. Not losing you today? Homing torpedo, as the name implies, homes in on enemies. But it's not Storm Tornado, so who cares? Alright, now I'm usually used to going after Spark Mandrill before Sting Chameleon, so I'm gonna do that. Could have gone after Spark Mandrill right after Boomer Twanger, but whatever. Spark Mandrill is another stage that changes if you defeat another stage beforehand. In this case, it's Storm Eagles. It'll be a bit more dilapidated, as you can see here. If you don't beat Storm Eagle first, there's no rolling blackout. Oh, I jumped into that. No, the worst part is I don't even need to go up here. There's nothing up here. Ugh, good job, Manji. So the reason that you want to do this after Boomer Twanger stage is so that you get Boomer Twanger's weapon and can grab that sub-tank. I'm not really a big fan of the rolling blackout, honestly. You can probably do Spark Mandrill stage without it, but there is a mini-boss here that's honestly a lot more of a nuisance without the rolling blackout. Ooh. Oh, that could have been bad. If that was regular Mega Man, that would have been awful. This is why I love the X series. This is why I love wall jumping. Here's this mini boss. From my experience, this thing's actually a bit of a nightmare if you don't do Storm Eagle stage first, since it can actually get electricity and will try to zap you. But it doesn't have that, so all it can do is bounce around. Hit you with bubbles. A bit of a nuisance, but it's a lot less of a nightmare without the electricity, trust me. This is one of the few mini-bosses that honestly can be a bit of a hassle. Pretty sure it also has less health, but that I'm not as sure about. Don't quote me on that. Oh boy. Oh, I totally thought it would have been done by then. Okay, I'm just gonna work with that. Also, don't forget about this, because if you don't... Because it's actually surprisingly easy to not even notice that. Especially with the blackout. I don't know if there's really an easier way to do that other than just, like, try and jump up on the wall, but... that's the way to do it. Not quite as bad as the stupid, jump in Flame Mammoth stage, where you have to also headbutt blocks, but... yeah, no. I think this is... ah, yep, there it is. Those things illuminate the, room, as you can see, but also they hurt. This is why you'll see me, constantly shooting lemons. These stages feel like a lot shorter, I don't know why. So now it's time to fight Spark Mandrill. Spark Mandrill is considered one of the easiest bosses, but that's because most people just try to fight this thing with the weakness, in which case it's very easy to get him in a loop. Without it, he's actually arguably one of the harder bosses. That punch is the reason why. I forgot you just jump like that. The problem with that punch is that you need to dash jump off the wall if you want to avoid it and not fall into him. He gets a little bit hectic without using the weakness, but with the weakness he is super easy because you could just get him stuck in a loop. That though, you have to actually learn how to dash jump off of walls, and dash jumping off the walls in X1 is a bit more awkward compared to later games. And yet that went a lot smoother than Boomer Quanger. Great. Alright. Let's get Sting Chameleon next, because I want the, item that's in here. Admittedly, I could have gone after him right after launch Octopus, but Sting Chameleon to me is one of the... Sting Chameleon is also one of the more annoying bosses to me. I don't know why I bother doing that. It's not like there's a reason I need to do this. Oh boy. Alright. This is a pretty front-loaded stage as far as secrets go. First off, we have to fight this jerk. This thing's awkward to fight because you can only really damage him by hitting his head, and it's a really small hitbox. I know this thing has a weakness, but I can't remember off the top of my head what that weakness is. I want to say it was either the electric spark, the one we just got from Spark Mandrill, or the boomerang cutter, which is really awkward to hit with. Wait, what? You can hit this thing's legs? You can hit this thing's legs. I did not know that, actually. Oh god, that could be bad. This could still be bad. Okay, I actually did not know you could hit this thing's legs. Probably because most of the time you actually can't. In a standing position, you just can't. That's actually really good to know. I don't think I've ever seen anyone mention that little tidbit. Huh, we learn something new every day. So the reason you want to fight that guy is so that you can get some body armor. Could have really used this dealing with Boomer Quanger. Now let's leave. Why can't I leave? That's just a little odd. Slide down here. So, think Chameleon stage is another stage that changes based on what you've done beforehand. You need to beat Launch Octopus so that this will fill up with water. And you can actually grab the heart. Apparently there is a way to get it without being Launch Octopus, but you need, I believe, the X-Buster upgrade and Shotgun Ice. And I think even then it's really difficult to pull off the jump off of Shotgun Ice. Or the Penguin Slide, or whatever you want to call it. I remember there being a lot more falling debris. Let's just run. Let's just get out of here. Ooh, nice. I'll take that. I forgot there was a free extra life here. It's like even more free than normal. Ah! Give me the help. I want that help. This is my one problem with playing with a SNES controller. It's a little bit awkward since they might sometimes just say, "Oh yeah, you're holding up," while you're trying to hold that button. Makes jumping using the right armor a bit more awkward. It's actually a big part of the reason why I don't like the classic series, especially when sliding was a thing, since it's surprisingly awkward to slide at points, and sometimes, or just running, since sometimes you'll wind up sliding and sometimes you'll wind up jumping when you don't want to. Enough about that. Time to fight Sting Chameleon. Maybe my fingers are just fat. I don't know. Oh. So the problem with Sting Chameleon is that he goes invisible, and when he does that, he's invincible. Don't think that's how it works. Don't think that's how it works. The other problem is this attack, where he just drops spikes on you. There's not really much of a pattern. The body armor, this thing shouldn't be too bad though. I can't tell if that just missed or if that was like at the very beginning of his invisibility. It was at the start of his invincibility frames. You can tell what he's going to do depending on where he is. If he goes like way up in the corner, he's going to shoot his own, I guess I'll call them tail spikes. If he goes lower, then he's just going to try to tongue you. Thankfully, you can kind of make out where he's going to go, so it's easy to like kind of plan around that. Not as bad as Boomer Coanger's bullcrap. That's a surprisingly short, Get out. Get out, we're done here. Took me a surprisingly long time to be able to beat Sting Chameleon without having to rely on the weakness. Admittedly, I do kind of leave him towards like the tail end because that way I have the body armor and a lot more health to work with. So I believe I got all the stuff so far, which leaves one last boss. Armored Armadillo. I believe I got all the stuff. Let me check. Yeah, I got 3 stuffed tanks. The last one's here. I believe I'm only missing the heart piece in Armored Armadillo stage. There is one last thing to collect in Armored Armadillo stage, but I'll leave that for later. So as neat as the little minecart segment is, something I want to show off here. This is a normal bad. But here we have this bat. This bat is special because it has an increased drop rate. It's a generally increased drop rate, but it also has a very high chance of dropping extra lives. So this is generally what you want to do when you want to grind for extra lives. Oh wait, I've already got 9 lives, so let's see. Fortunately, I have to kind of give up the minecart. Oh god. With this segment, just try to run. Don't go beyond the spike pit, though. The reason for that is because we have to actually double back to where we started. Or we started the chase scene, rather. Oh, goody. Because this is where we'll find our last sub-tank. Get out. That's not what I want. A little bit easier on me. Definitely want to get off before at that point. Alright, for this one, stick to the left, because you gotta destroy this thing. So it'll be a reverse chase sequence, but if you let the chase sequence play out, it'll actually destroy the bottom of this, which means you can't actually reach the heart piece. With that, we're done here for now. Let's move on to the boss. Try not to stay on that minecart for too long, because that can end in tragedy. Weird. Nothing up here. Oh well, let's move on. Alright, so the next boss, Armored Armadillo. I always leave him for last because Armored Armadillo is probably the hardest to fight without using a weakness. Because unlike every other boss, it's defensive. Also, it does this. I thought he was going to, jump there. Problem with Armored Armadillo is that problem with Armored Armadillo is that he pretty much takes 1 damage from every attack as long as his defenses as long as he has his defenses. And the way to get rid of his defenses is to use his weakness. They really want to hammer home the whole, like, you should be using boss weaknesses here. Without it, he basically, like, takes 1 damage from almost every attack. He takes a lot less damage compared to the other bosses, so he can take a little while. Obviously, as you can see there, he will block your shots, even your fully charged shots. I think he basically takes 1 damage from almost everything, but there is one exception to the rule. The dash shots. which, as I found out after recording the first episode, are only really a thing with uncharged shots. So yeah, the fastest way to beat Armored Armadillo is not fully charged shots, it's to dash and shoot a lemon at him. Weird. And that's even only if you don't use the weakness, like I do. Obviously, it's a lot better to just use the weakness, which is the Electro Ball. This is going a lot better. I should really not tempt fate like that. Even as a joke. Oh, you're actually feeling pretty strong. Anyway, let's move on to the final boss. Sigma. Oh no, Sigma's replaced Mega Man X-Man, the Fiend.